This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Previously on Fantasy 606.
Gamble with Adama Traore or a Trincao or
Damari
Gray.
I was going to say Pathos, you see, but then that's a Greek holiday destination, yeah.
I mean, talking about copying, Dave game week 2, I'm going to get Greenwood, Chris goes Greenwood. Dave game week 3, I'm going Calvert-Lewin, Chris goes Calvert-Lewin. You've pretty much got the same team, so I'll put the question to both of you.
So let's go this week's Sutton Death, Dave. Have you got a pen and paper ready, Dave?
I've just been absolutely dumped on here.
You're all getting sucked in with Ronaldo. What was it, Bruce? The FOMO.
Imagine Cavani and Ronaldo just launching it. Sutton Shearer, Mark II.
What's Chris Stark going to do with
Probably
Lukaku?
lose again.
I mean, is he going to?
He's playing Dave. He's playing Dave in the head-to-head.
Should we kick Chris Stark out of the league?
This is the Fantasy 606 podcast with Alistair Bruce Ball, Chris Sutton and Statman Dave.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy 606. I'm going to give you the deadline warning straight away at the start of this podcast. There are no excuses. I will give it again at the end of the pod. The deadline for game week 5 this weekend is 6:30. What was that?
Just a bang, Bruce.
Yeah, but what? Someone's dropped something there in shock at the deadline.
I'm just getting my team up,
Right.
Bruce, I dropped my phone.
Okay.
Just in surprise.
Were you aware, Chris, that the deadline for game week 5 is 6:30 on Friday night? Were you aware of that?
There must be a game on Friday.
Yeah, Newcastle Leeds Friday night. So you've got to pick your team by 6:30 on Friday night. Okay, no excuses. No one on the pod. I don't want to hear any emails from listeners next week. Oh, I forgot. It's a Friday night deadline. Okay.
Bit rude trying to do the listeners' voices through an email, Bruce. They don't all sound like that.
They don't.
Bullying that.
Oh.
Another great pod on the way, we hope, this week. Previewing game week 5, looking back on another high-scoring game week 4. The average scores in all the game weeks so far this season have been above 50. In game week 4, it was 57 points. And we've got another one of our managers from the head-to-head league coming on as a guest this week and taking on the challenge of Sutton Death, but I'm not going to tell you who that is.
Oh, wow, how exciting. Is it a
big
big hitter?
I'd say one of the biggest names in our league, Chris, definitely, yeah. But hasn't performed the best. Probably hasn't performed as well as we would have liked, having brought them into the league this season.
Ian Dennis?
What? Who beat you mean, in game week 4?
Yeah, he's good. Deno's good.
Yeah.
Got a lot to do, but...
Took me down in Sutton Death, has taken you down in the head-to-head. I mean, basically, we want Dave to play Sutton Death every week, wouldn't we? I mean, we're not allowed to do that, but...
Good on instinct.
Maybe on instinct. You just don't tell me and then just throw me into it. I think that's the best way management-wise. You just got to step up straight away. Cold substitute. I haven't even warmed up. Straight in.
Bruce is looking tired today, Dave, isn't he?
He is. I think we need to bring the energy. We need to bring the energy, crew. Bruce has done a lot of driving recently, so we need to pick him up. Got some stats for you, Bruce, later on. So they're exciting.
He's been off, Dave, as well, playing golf with his pals with the Red Trouser Brigade. That's what's happened.
I heard there was a wild night out, wasn't there?
No, there's you know the old adage of work hard, play hard. As always, I've been working hard, but I have been playing a little bit too hard. I went back to my old school, Dave. They asked me to give a speech and try and entertain the troops and lift morale. And
absolute lead balloon then.
Yeah. Do you want to know how many managers we've got in the Fantasy 606 League at this point?
Not really, but go on.
21,488.
Wow.
It's good, isn't it?
Greatest league of all time, that.
It's good. So just before we get onto the scores, it's probably best to start with this tweet from Chris Sutton, which was played ahead of game week 4. And it read, one of the great fantasy football moves this week from Taylor, getting Kane in and captaining him as Spurs play Palace. We are going down the long-term planning route here. We are not falling into the Ronaldo trap. Scores from game week 4, ABB 74, Dave 74, Chris 46. 10,600.
I really want to swear, Bruce.
10,671st in the league. So that is actually still above the halfway point. Is that right? If I've added that up right? Yeah, that is just above the halfway point in the league. So, but Chris, you said it. You make the point there.
Don't start. You just rinsed me, okay? Now don't start patronising me and try and get back on side. Oh, Chris, you made the point.
Long-term planning, you've said, Chris. So that's one game week.
I'm thinking of getting him out, Kane. I'm not. I'm not sure. My head's gone, but my head is spinning with fantasy football. I don't know whether I'm thinking of quitting or not. Taylor's not helping me. He phoned me at 6:20 in the week with some wild card ideas
for this week.
Yeah, for this week. Yeah.
Oh,
Before your morning coffee, Chris.
Before
But what's the timing there?
Just sheer panic from Taylor. But Taylor knows he's let me down badly. But having said all that, Ronaldo, it's luck, isn't it? You've all jumped on the Ronaldo bandwagon. Yeah. I think you said, Bruce, you texted and you had Freddie Woodman. I mean, what's he doing?
Yeah.
Woodman.
Scruffy goals
Come
from Ronaldo.
on,
Scruffy.
Woodman. Just catch the ball, the first one. Easy one for Ronaldo, and through his legs on the second one. All of a sudden, you all think you're geniuses. You got lucky. Poor Harry Kane only had one touch inside the Crystal Palace box.
Zero chances created, 0 shots on goal. Yeah. Crystal Palace dominated possession. That is a turnout for the books. I was not expecting that to happen, Chris.
Why are you laughing, Dave? Is Kane a good signing then for me?
He is in game week 12 to 15.
So Kane so hang on. So Kane is a terrible long-term signing.
No, incorrect.
No. I know you say don't get your way out. Don't get yourself out of this by saying 12 to 15, game week 12 to 15. Is Kane a good signing?
No, because there's better premium striker assets such as Cristiano Ronaldo and Romelu Lukaku. They're just in more in form right now. They're looking fresh. The teams are playing towards them.
He's had one
Harry
game.
Kane's but Harry Kane's Tottenham, they don't look great. From a possession perspective, look great counter-attacking against big teams and counter-attacking when the moment's there. But what was it? I think the first shot they had was around 60 minutes. Lucas Moura in the game. It's not really that's not really like a Chelsea that are dominating the ball or a Man United that are dominating the ball for 90 minutes. That's the thing I'd look at, Chris, because it feels like Kane isn't. They're not playing to Kane. They're not playing to his strengths. They're not creating him loads of chances because he'll score.
Son didn't play, did he, as well? And that's
another thing. So I would just say with that, it is this moving the premium around. I think that has to be the strategy for everyone this year. It's moving the premium from Ronaldo to Lukaku to Kane. I think Kane is a good option, but only on certain game weeks.
Just a quick one on Taylor, Chris, because I meant to mention this last week, and we'll come on to your potential wild card in a bit. He told me that nickname for him, that you being Clough and him being Taylor, has now actually transferred to when people are watching his football team.
Yeah,
so
he's got the Taylor shout. Yeah, when he's playing Ely
they're all
away.
chanting Taylor.
Yeah, he loves it.
That's great. That's the pod. The word is spreading. Groomy's got in touch. He was a bit disappointed in you because, although I actually think, Dave, you were pretty clear last week, even though it was hugely contradictory, because just to remind the listeners. No,
hang on a minute. Just say that again. You're having a mare today.
No, I'm not.
No,
Dave,
come on.
No, listen to me.
No,
so
Dave
was clear in what he said.
Clear but contradictory.
Because Dave said, I'm getting Ronaldo in, but you shouldn't get him in. That's what Dave said to the listeners. So it was honest because he told us what he was doing, but it kind of so Groomy says last season Statman Dave was all about the listeners. This season he's selling us down the river just to win. The loss to ABB has scorned him. There is no more Mr. Nice Guy from Statman Dave. You got him in, Dave. You captained him. You said you were going to do that, and he scored you 26 points.
But why he's on to give the listeners advice, and if he's telling the listeners no, and then he's getting.
But at least he was
that's
honest
not a
saying
good
what
look.
he was
that's
doing.
Not a good look. That's the look of a snake, isn't it?
It was.
That's not
it was
a good look.
It was a punt. It was a gamble.
Come on.
Chris.
How many people got? Hang on a minute. How many people got Ronaldo in? Let's see your big gamble.
2 million.
2 million people rolled the
dice.
They rolled the Ronaldo dice because we've not got. So the better call.
I bet your mate Andy from the FPL got him in as well. Oh, we rolled the dice.
He did actually.
Me and Andy.
He did.
Me and Andy rolled the dice together. Yeah. But no, I think it's if you were looking at the data and making an informed decision, because Cristiano Ronaldo hadn't played Premier League football last season, was in Serie A, and and Lukaku had already played games. Lukaku was probably the asset that you should have brought in last week against Aston Villa, and then waited to see whether Cristiano Ronaldo popped off. He popped off now, so now is an opportunity to get him in until game week 7 and then revert back to Lukaku. But that's what you should have done. The Ronaldo thing was all on the hype. I think that was a big thing, and the goals were the second goal was fantastic. What a goal that was! As much as we're taking a mick out of Woodman, but a brilliant take, the power that he drove through into the box.
Dave went through the goal.
It was a good finish.
Come on, Dave. Come on.
I thought it was a good finish.
Bruce, you'd have saved that, wouldn't you, your little legs?
I think I'd have saved both, Chris. I mean, I was delighted because I got him in. I did the boring thing, Chris. I mean, I didn't feel it was really rolling the dice. Got him in, but I didn't captain him. I went Salah. I captained Salah just
Don't
because...
you ever like look at yourself in the mirror and just think, I am so boring.
But successful.
Then you just think that, let's live a little. Live a little, Bruce.
Yeah, but in certain areas...
I captain Salah. I mean, you're moulding into Andy from the FBL. I captain Salah every week.
I'll probably captain him this week as well, actually, Chris. Probably will.
It's ridiculous.
No, but you've got to know when to take your risks and try and gain that differential.
Oh, my God.
A little bit, Chris. And we discussed this last week. I picked Ronaldo out of FOMO.
That's not the way you live your life, is it?
What, in general?
Out of fear.
Shouldn't do. But actually, I mean, what is interesting, though, Chris, people who didn't go Ronaldo, so a lot of people... I mean, if you kept Bruno Fernandes, OK, he didn't score 13 points, but scored an absolute screamer and still got you some points. And Dave, if you went Lukaku instead of Ronaldo, and I know a lot of people might make that switch in game week 7 or 8, you're talking about switching the premium assets. But if you went early to Lukaku, he still got you 13 points. So you don't have to have Ronaldo.
No, I don't think you do. I think both of those two right now are the two. Look at Ronaldo's combined stats versus Newcastle and Young Boys, 8 shots, 4 on target, 3 goals, and expected goals of 1.93. Pardon me. You compare that to Lukaku in the 4 games for Chelsea, 14 shots, 5 on target, 4 goals, and next year 3.3. Both of the players are really, really performing from all those metrics that you want from goal scorers. How many shots are they taking, how many shots on target, how many goals they're scoring, and then what's the underlying numbers. Both of them right now are in great hot form, so you could have either. And I think it's the FOMO this season of not having the other one is going to be the thing that kills people. Going into a game week and having Lukaku.
That's not what I want to hear. That's not what I want to hear from a listener. You could have either.
But then that's what so Ronaldo till game week 7, Lukaku till game week 11, and then Kane to 15, then Ronaldo back into 26, and then Lukaku into 33, and then Ronaldo 34. That's the strat.
But there's also the option. Lots of people are talking about this week. Micah Richards in our head-to-head league, 83 points this week, having played the wild card. Salah, Ronaldo, and Lukaku, and he's managed to get Trent Alexander-Arnold in there. So there's no FOMO there in terms of those 3 big names, which is... if you have a look at his team, Dave, I don't know if you want to get it up, but I thought with 3 biggies and Trent Alexander-Arnold as a premium defender.
I think that the danger there is the likes of Sergi Canos, Damari Gray, Duffy,
Starting
and
regularly.
Brandon Williams.
Starting regularly
and then regularly getting points. I wouldn't be backing Norwich's defence at the moment. Brighton's obviously got good fixtures at times, but at the same time, when they're playing big teams, that's having the double Brighton of Sanchez and Duffy.
Brighton who can't play, according to Rory Smith.
And players like Christensen as well, that when Thiago Silva's fit, isn't a starter. It's a big gamble. But having those assets in, you're also throwing in Mikel Antonio into that side as well. It's kind of weighing up that. I just don't think at the end of the season when you review Micah Richards' team, he might not have the best players in terms of points per million. And utilising that budget and optimising in that budget is really, really important. He's missing out on the likes of Rafinha that should go on a bit of a run right now in there. Like other £6.5 million assets are difficult to get in if you have the 4 premiums that he's got, the premium defender, premium midfielder, and then 2 premium forwards. But at the same time, if Lukaku and Ronaldo score 30 goals apiece, Mika's going to be sat there laughing at us.
Do you want to hear my wild card, potential wild card?
Yes, please,
Let's do it, Chris.
Yeah, let's do it.
And what I'd say, though, I don't want you copying, and I don't want the listeners copying this.
Okay, this is just for you.
This will blow your mind, Dave. This will blow your mind on your Logitech camera. Schmeichel, Schmeichel. I'm going to stick with Schmeichel.
So keep Schmeichel, yeah.
Diaz, Shaw, Marçal from Wolves.
Yeah, I'm thinking about him this week.
Oh, there's a see.
I was already.
Yeah.
Chris, look, you didn't even know. You said don't copy. You said that. No, you stated that as you're reading the team out.
That's not copying, Dave.
Ali's just straight
I've already. That's my move this week. Shimicast to Marçal. Anyway, Chris, good move. I like it. Well done.
Greenwood, Salah, Gray, Bissouma, and then this will blow your mind. This will blow your mind. Ready, Dave? Steady yourself.
I'm ready.
Lukaku, Kane, Bamford. Boom.
Boomford. Okay, hang on, Chris. You've not read us the bench there, though, because that's important. So that's a great starting 11.
I can't find the bench.
You see, that's a shame.
I can't find the bench.
Because I've got a feeling the bench might be...
I'm not bothered about the bench.
No, well, that could be the problem with that team, couldn't it, Dave?
I think Bardsley's still on there. I don't know, but that's a great team, Dave, isn't it? That is a great team.
It's a good team.
No, it's a great team. That is a great team. Leeds, good fixtures.
You've got 10 players in the midfield. Just to read that again, is Greenwood, Salah, Gray and Bissouma.
Yeah, so there's one on the bench, isn't there, that Chris hasn't got the bench there.
But that's the starting 11, I imagine.
Yes, that is.
The Bissouma one is a bit of a concern, Chris, because you could.
But that's nice because I've not done it yet. So
no,
go on.
Just little feedback. Bassouma's, more than likely going to get you 3 points on a good week. That's what he's in there for. He's a cheap asset.
Give me some gold dust then.
That's why I'm saying that the double premium up front as well as the premium midfield is a little bit of a danger. I love the shout of Diaz. I think Diaz is going to be the one. It's going to be the one for me in a few weeks. When you're looking at Man City's underlying numbers, absolutely fantastic. 3 clean sheets in the Premier League, 1 goal conceded, and expected goals against at 2.18, the best in the Premier League. It's a great shout, Chris. I like that shout. But when I'm looking at the Bissouma, I think you've got to go Kane or Lukaku and Mikel Antonio at the moment.
I've got Kane. I've got Lukaku.
So you pick. So go Lukaku. Move Kane to downgrade Kane.
No. Come on, downgrade Kane.
And beef up your midfield.
And beef up the midfield.
Be more boring, Chris. That's what Dave's asking you to do. Go safe, steady,
Chris,
build the squad.
So downgrade Kane to who?
Jimenez.
Go to Antonio. Jimenez is a great shout. Wolves have got good fixtures until 15.
He hasn't scored, Jimenez.
He's a massive gamble, but could really come off due to the fixtures. So when you're looking at forwards, I like Bamford. I think Bamford's going to come into a lot of teams. Bamford's going to come into my team this week because I have to.
Maybe mine
Dominic
as well.
Calvert-Lewin's injury.
Oh, no, come on, guys. Come
it's
on.
The obvious pick, Chris.
I've just said I've got Bamford in, right? Yeah, Don't copy. I just said that, and you said no.
He doesn't belong to you, though, Chris. He belongs to the game, and we're managers in the game. And if we were thinking that anyway, you're
just trying to block me.
You've not discovered some incredible scientific formula for
You're trying
something
to block
no one's
me.
ever invented.
Yeah, but say earlier. Just play fair.
Bamford's a great shout. He is a great shout. Although
other options, Chris, for your forward line, Mikel Antonio is obviously suspended this week, so wild card into a suspended player, already having him is a little frustrating. Then the bench you've got to have a good bench behind that. He's a great option. Callum Wilson's still a great option when he can get his fitness back. Bamford's probably the best striker. Bamford is the striker right now to bring in. The wood chopper. Not looking too bad on the XG in the top 10 in the Premier League. So yeah, the wood chopper could be the one.
Are we not, any of us, a little bit concerned about Leeds' start to this season in terms of, yes, they've got great fixtures coming up, but actually what they're producing at the moment, are we basing it a little bit on how good they were last season rather than looking at them on current form?
Well, I'll tell you what, on that basis, don't get Bamford in.
Yeah, maybe I won't.
No, don't.
Okay, I won't, maybe.
Leeds aren't going to change the way they play, are they? Under Bielsa, they're going to play attacking football, Bruce. So that's why I've chosen Bamford. So it'll be good to see you've clarified. You think that Leeds aren't the same team. You think they're going to struggle. So don't get the players in.
Dave, you sticking with Rafinha?
I have to believe in Leeds United.
Okay.
I have got no other option.
Right.
I have 3 Leeds United players at the moment because of how my team's looking out.
So that's Ayling, Rafinha, and Bamford.
Ayling, Rafinha, Bamford. So I'm fully committed to Leeds. The concerns would be looking at the stats in the 4 games. Leeds United are in the bottom half of the league for expected goals. They're pretty bad in terms of expected goals against, in 18th in the Premier League. So the underlying numbers aren't great, but Leeds have had a bit of a tricky start. When you're looking at their fixtures, they've already faced Man United, Liverpool, Everton that are pretty sound defensively this season. So the run is good, and that's kind of sometimes in fantasy football is you take part of the form. So Bamford's still getting into good areas, scored a good goal last week, nice poacher's effort. But with Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, and Norwich in the next 5 game weeks, you should be seeing an attacking Leeds United, as you said, Chris. Bielsa's not going to change. That's it.
The only other thing, Chris, on your wildcard squad there that would concern me if I were you is there's no Trent Alexander-Arnold in there. So 12 points in game week 4. He's been sensational at the start of the season.
Overrated.
No, come on.
You've got to have Bruce, I need to have a punt, Bruce.
Yeah.
Good player. I like him.
Yeah.
To get back level, though, I have to do something extraordinary. And 2 great minds this week early in the morning.
Yeah.
Getting ourselves together, just chewing the fat, talking football. That's what we do. Clough and Taylor. And we've come up with this plan. I love my team.
Okay.
I love my team.
Okay, so this is going to be it, or pretty much it, and you're going to captain Bamford in game week 5.
I'm not happy with I'm not happy with you, Dave, and the Kane shout. Not happy with that, Dave.
I just look when you're looking at the stats, there's better options. That's all I'm going to say,
Kane's
Chris.
the best striker in the country.
I agree with that, but I think when the impact of Kane, the impact of Ronaldo, and the impact of Lukaku, those two are just better options. I think they just are.
He's not playing for the best team in the country, though, is he, Chris?
Who's the best team in the country, Bruce?
Well, I don't know, but what I'm saying is...
No, you just said he's not playing for the best team in the country. Who's the best team in the country? Manchester United? When was the last time they won a Premier League?
I'm saying that if he played for...
Hello?
if he played for Manchester United, Manchester City or Chelsea at the moment, he'd be getting a lot more chances.
Hang on a minute. You had Kane in all last year, and they were a counter-attacking team last year. You copied me and got Kane in last year. You destroyed my season by getting Kane and Son in, didn't you? And their partnership was brilliant. And now you're just dissing him.
I'm not dissing him,
just
Chris.
dismissing
No, I'm more dissing Tottenham, aren't I, than him? That's the point I'm making, is that he is a
How did
brilliant
they play
player.
under Mourinho?
On the counter-attack.
What are they doing under Nuno?
Yeah, playing on the counter-attack.
So what's changed?
Chris, do you want a left field shout?
Go on.
Aubameyang.
That's a great shout. That is
Fixtures,
proper left field.
Right? Burnley, Tottenham, Brighton, Palace, Villa, Leicester, Watford.
So if you get him in, you save yourself about $2.5 million. Bump that midfield, or get Trent Alexander-Arnold back in.
That is seriously rolling the dice, though.
Yeah, it is. Live fast.
So hang on a minute. I've gone Kane long term, and you were praising me earlier, Bruce, for long term plans. You love long term plans, and now if I had that strategy as a long term plan, and now I biff Kane off, I'm going to look so weak, aren't I?
I like taking risks with other people's teams.
If you want to do the premium strikers, that's why I went with Aubameyang, because it's premium. What about Jamie Vardy?
We've not talked about him much this season, have we?
No, he's massively gone under the radar.
Yeah.
I think because of the form of Iheanacho at the back end of last season, I think managers are cautious to bring him in, because you've got Iheanacho, you've got Daka in there, the rotation is there, but Vardy's started every single game so far, so he could be an option. His underlying stats are very Jamie Vardy-esque in a sense, that he's had 8 shots on goal so far this season. He's one of those players that doesn't really amount a massive amount of XG, but scores goals. So if you want to take him, Chris, I think he could be a good option.
I quite like that. I think I had him in last year, and he's going to play all the time, isn't he? It's a bit like Kane. He's going to play all the time. The rumour I heard, Ronaldo maybe left out this weekend. Played a couple of games, hasn't he? Back to back.
He has.
36 years old. Just putting it out there. I heard he's on the bench this weekend. Keep him in. Keep him in.
West Ham away for Manchester United. By the way, on West Ham, another email from Sydney. I mean, it's every week now. It's almost like there's a direct line.
From Sydney or Sydney?
Well, it's from the city of Sydney, Chris, in New South Wales. It comes from Tim, or as he calls himself, Timo. Although I think he's an expat actually. So shall I read it?
Awful BBC stereotyping.
It is.
I'm
going to read this in a sensible voice. So this is Timo.
Go on. No, do it in the
Australian. It's quite a long one though for me to do that Australian.
On. Give it a go.
And actually, Timo is really Timo, isn't it? Timo.
Go on.
Timo. Hope you're all well. Long-time listener and regular to the show. Anyway, never mind Simo, Tomo, or any other skippy from Aussie shores. It's Timo, the Sydney 606 Stokey that's gunning for top spot down under. 4 weeks in and sitting comfortably, although took a hit with Antonio and Tanganga, both seeing red last week. Dilemma in mind with Calvert-Lewin. Now, this is the serious bit. This is actually a question, and we've sort of dealt with this in terms of strikers, but I'll carry on. With Calvert-Lewin not available and Antonio on a break for a week, it now leaves me a little short on firepower. Question for the stat man. Do I use 2 subs to bring in both forwards, or just use the one and have the extra midfielder with 5 across the middle? Keep up the good work. Cheers, Timo from the Sydney 606 Specials. So he's asking about playing a different formation. My question to add to that, Dave, would be, if you're an Antonio owner, which we all are, my plan for Antonio this week is just to bench him and keep him. I don't think there's any point in selling him, because I just want him straight back.
Yeah. I think it's a dilemma for a lot of fantasy managers. This is where the bench is, your bench has got to be good. And I think that's something that we've said throughout this season is with COVID, the bench has got to be good. But also for a normal season, this is a normal situation. Antonio's just going to miss one game. So having your bench being good is something that you've got to focus on. My bench started looking good.
Is that what we're paying the license fee for?
The bench. Wait for the next bit,
You need a good
Chris.
bench.
You need a good bench. So I'd go 5 across the midfield, go with the 2 strikers. I've got the same dilemma of Calvert-Lewin and Antonio.
Yeah.
So I'm removing Calvert-Lewin, and I would recommend bringing in Patrick Bamford. He is the best value asset.
Oh, do you know what'll happen? Kelly will take my bit out of the pod, and then we'll have the expert Dave on saying, I'm recommending Patrick Bamford. I've already said that, Dave.
I agree. Chris, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying this is a great suggestion. Great minds, Chris, all right? I know you like to be outside the box, a little bit of a hipster at heart, but this is the one. Patrick Bamford is the best for his price range and a great swap for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is so disappointing because his expected goals is the second best in the league behind Sadio Mane, who just decided to take all the shots last week against Leeds. But Calvert-Lewin was the one. I really thought this season Calvert-Lewin's going to be on penalties, a hat full of goals. Now that's obviously broken. You've got to change your plan. You've got to adapt. Bamford is the adaptation till game week 10, and then we might have to make some more moves.
The other thing I asked for on social media this week, and this goes back to something else we were talking about in the pod earlier this season. Let me take you back to probably podcast 2 after game week 1. Zeno Robinson, our friend from Nigeria, who inadvertently entered 2 teams into the qualifier league to try and get into the head-to-head leagues. Was very honest, put his hands up and said, I've got it wrong.
Well, he wasn't honest.
He was honest about his cheating.
Yeah, that's like robbing a bank and then, saying I robbed the bank.
And returning some of the money.
Yeah,
That's what he's asking
still
to
robbed
do.
the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we decided, we voted as the committee that he could keep both teams in the league, but one of the teams would have to play under certain restrictions for the rest of the season. And we didn't decide on those restrictions, so I decided to lean on the creativity of the listeners to get some suggestions on what he would have to do with his team. FPL Lallana, quite like this one. This is quite FPL, this. Every player must be under 10% ownership.
That'll be a fun team to manage.
I think that'd be quite fun. And he also makes the point here, Chris, that you can actually pick quite a good team. So at the moment, you could have Ederson in goal, Cancelo, Rudiger, Reece James and Semedo, Mane, Gundogan, Havertz and Ismail Assar with Jimenez and Kane up top. All of them are under 10%. Chris, you might like this one. Dave Hatchett, the Hatchet Man, says forwards have to come from northern clubs, midfielders from Midlands clubs.
Where's the cut-off?
Well, here you go. Defenders from southern clubs and goalkeepers from the south coast. No physical boundaries as such, but no midfielder, for example, could play for a club north of a forward or south of a defender. So that's beautifully ridiculous. Chris Latcham, one of our colleagues on 5 Live. Latch, Latch, who plays his FPL. He says you can't have the same shirt colour in any line of the formation. So when the team appears on the screen. So in goalkeeper, defender, midfield, attacker. So for example, you couldn't have Salah and Fernandes because they'd both be in red shirts. So that's another one.
I like it.
Gaz says no players who are taller than ABB. But you're not going to find a keeper.
Yeah, that's going to be a worry.
That's
no
actually,
goalkeeper.
That's actually not possible. Mr. P says, in honour of Chris Sutton's Phil Bardsley pick, only players that are 32 years old and over.
I like that. I like that.
Class.
So what do we think? That's probably. I mean, we've had tons of them, and I love all the emails, and I've not been able to read them all out. fantasy606@bbc.co.uk is the email address. What about those, Dave? You quite like differential there, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's what I would like to play. So I'm just thinking from the listener's perspective, what would be quite fun?
The best one, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Special dispensation for a goalkeeper who's taller than you, Bruce. And the whole team.
Whole team has to be
smaller
under 5'8.5".
So we can have the smallest goalkeeper, whoever that is,
Okay.
in the Premier League,
Okay.
and the rest.
Yeah.
Not much movement in that team is what I'd say. So that's basically a set.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's true.
We need the movement.
The reason I like the differential one is because I actually think, like you say, Dave, that will test Zeno's managerial quality. I mean, if he can manage that team to promotion with that sort of stipulation on it, then hats off to him. So with the part of that stipulation as well, if they do get to 10%, does he have to transfer the player out? Yeah, Yeah, so if 3 players reach 10%, over 10% in the week, and they become really popular, they're all going to have to go. So he's going to have to take hits there. Those are the rules.
That would be if he does that, then he's the greatest
Miracle
manager of all
stuff,
time.
yeah.
Okay. Right. Time to introduce our guest. Big build-up. Still a mystery. No one knows who that's going to
Must be a big hitter, Bruce.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
A big cheese.
Big hitter.
A-list, would you say
doesn't do it
A-list?
justice.
Would you say A-list?
I'd say better than A-list, Chris. I mean, what's...
Well,
is there
A-list, but A-list
Yeah,
you
but
can't.
capital A-list, I would say. I'll give you a couple of clues. A first-time manager in the league this season, Chris. It's been a tough start to the campaign for him, but he always gives the pod a lot of love.
I think I know who
Works
it is.
in the industry.
In which industry?
In our industry. Hugely successful podcast on the BBC Sounds app in conjunction with Radio 5
Peter
Live.
Crouch isn't in the league, is he?
No. Hoping for him next season. What else? Show on Saturday on 5 Live. Was in Salisbury at the weekend, Chris. Was in my hometown of Salisbury doing his stuff. Any ideas? City.
Not Salisbury, not
It's a
City,
city.
Bruce.
It's a city.
Yeah.
I know, but you don't say home city. You say hometown because hometown is all one
Yeah,
word.
I mean, look, listen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say an A-lister.
What would you say?
But
What?
It's Chris Stark. I don't know where you'd rank him.
Chris, would you
Weird
put yourself
game
on the
this, isn't
A-list?
it?
Would you put yourself on?
No. Why are we playing a game of let's rank how famous we are?
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Where are you, Ali Bruce Ball?
Where would you be, Bruce?
Well, I would G probably.
Oh, come on, Bruce. Why G?
It's easy to say that, though, isn't it? So my question to you, Ali Bruce Ball, would be what
have you ever done?
What's the last thing you've been invited to? That's always a good barometer.
Well, Chris, I went back to my old school and gave a speech at the old boys' dinner at the weekend.
The old boys' dinner.
Rupert and Theodore.
Right, let's get to the head-to-head league. Let's get to the results. There's a reason we've got Chris on, but not everyone will be aware of what went on in the head-to-head league this week. So here are your Division 1 classified results. Fantasy 606, Game Week 4.
Chris Sutton, 42. Ian Dennis, 68. Joe Sant, 55. Spencer Owen, 68. Kelly Summers, 71. Julien Laurent, 50. Micah Richards, 83. Vicky Sparks, 70. Danny Kerr, 63. Nick Bright, 55. Ben Foster, 68. Rob Green, 64. John Akers, 62. Mark Hunter, 23. Steve Crossman, 74. Friday Football Social, 42. Mike Williams, 60. Alistair Bruce Ball, 74. Statman Dave, 70. Chris Stark, 76.
And there you have it. A first win of the season in the head-to-head league for Chris Stark against our expert. Chris, congratulations.
It's absolutely massive from me, isn't it? Absolutely massive.
Talk me. Have you two been in contact during the game week? Because I mean, Chris, obviously you had that incredibly painful defeat against our Chris, where you lost on bonus points, didn't you, in game week 2, which I mean really set you back, and actually had our Chris even questioning whether you should be in the league. But this is huge.
Massive. And the thing is with that is, to get well by in this league, I think you need to beat certain people. But to take a scalp like Statman Dave, is the confidence that we've needed at the right moment. I always think my journey with fantasy football is very similar to that of Watford's in the Premier League. It just when you're starting to have a few question marks, you just go in, you get a massive win, changes everything. For me, I didn't expect to beat Statman Dave. I hoped, but I didn't expect. And I've been buzzing off it all week, if I'm honest, because it then gets you thinking, what else could you do with your life, Statman Dave, every Saturday, I hear him get 15 minutes with Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
And I think, what a job that guy has, and he always, to be fair, Statman, you always do a great job with it. But then I question, maybe I should be in that chair, Where are the opportunities around the network, that I could be starting to have a look at? Because generally speaking, I think, I just set up my fantasy football with my mates and don't really give it too much thought. But imagine I put the effort that Statman Dave put into his team. Imagine what I could do.
Yeah, but looking at your team, Chris, because I was ahead of this pod, I think that, I don't know. I mean, you tell me whether you're you're putting more application into it this season, because I like the team. There's a lot of sort of, using the lingo, template in there. So you went early Lukaku. Lukaku's coming game week 2 and you've stuck with him.
This is what I want to ask you. So I was going to stick with Lukaku. My plan was to concentrate on, okay, Antonio's out, but stick with him, Lukaku, and bring in Ronaldo for Ings, and then change everything around. So keep Salah, potentially Pogba would have to go.
That's a good plan.
Why is that a bad plan?
It's the Mika Richards effect. Having Trent, premium defender, premium midfielder, and 2 premium forwards. I just don't think you can distribute the rest of the money well enough. Because at the moment you've got the likes of Yuri Tielemans in there, Pogba, they're going to have to get downgraded quite a bit. So you're basically playing with 5.5 midfielders, £6 million midfielders that aren't going to perform every week. So you are very much geared on those 4 players to perform week in, week out. You see, Gallagher's a great shout. Gallagher's someone we've not actually spoke of this season that's got the second best XG in the Premier League of any midfielder. And, from watching him get into the penalty area and support the attackers, he looks like a good asset. The issue with Gallagher right now, they're playing Liverpool next, in the week. So I'd say Gallagher probably from next week onwards, after the Liverpool fixture, bring him in. He's probably an asset that you could get. Gray, Ali Bruce Ball, Damari Gray's a great player that you've had at 5.5.
No, not had him, Dave. I went Traore because you said Traore.
Excellent.
But you've
so it's those
for that.
5.5 midfielders. Do you think they can perform for a full season? Like, is Gray going to be in the Everton team for the full season? Maybe he is. Conor Gallagher's definitely going to be in the Palace team.
Why wouldn't he be, Dave?
Yeah.
But that's what you've got to consider. Because
what's Rafa going to drop him?
But it's those price point players, the rotation and them coming out of the team. They're not guaranteed unless they go on a really good run. Unless they have a Lundstram, part of the season where they're just undroppable. You're looking at other players like the likes of Ben Rama that is very favoured at the moment. He's been getting substituted on the 60th minute. He's someone that you should move on from your team. At the moment, great value at 6.4 for what he's produced so far. But it's players like that you're going to have to move through the season. And I think with that 5.5 budget, it's not enough. There's not enough players in that bracket to move between. If you go up a little bit more, Chris, the likes of Rafinha, Ben Rama, Dele Alli that could come good, Traore, Trincao, players like that in that bracket. I think that's a better bracket to play with than the one below.
By the way, just listening to you and Chris start talking, that was like Saturday afternoon 5 Live Sport. It was like Statman and Shearer, wasn't it? Honestly, it was
that's the future.
Just fantastic radio.
Thank you,
Chris. You have a mass. So you've taken Statman Dave down game week 4. Game week 5. You're now up against the best in the league. Micah Richards played the wild card, 83 points game week 4. You are straight onto him. Have a good look at his team. I think you can take him down as well. He's called his team the Untouchables. Someone needs to prove that they're touchable. And I think you could do that.
That's a weird way to put it.
Yeah, it is. It comes from the film The Untouchables. You seen The Untouchables?
Really?
Yeah. No, but when Elliot Ness thinks he's doing the right thing, then one of his team gets taken out in the lift and they write in blood on the lift. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, it's getting a bit weird. Let's move it on. Let's move it on.
Suggesting?
I'm suggesting.
No,
I'm suggesting. What I'm trying to say is that I think Chris is the Al Capone here, and Mike is the Elliot Ness.
I think it comes down to, right, if I wildcard this week, assuming he takes it quite seriously, right?
Yes, he does.
If I wildcard this week, he can't match my team because there'll be. If I wildcard this week, it's Ronaldo and massive changes. But I'm now, after this conversation, thinking that I'm not going to be doing that. But, the unpredictability of it all might help in this situation. You're right, though, Ali. It is nice speaking to Statman Dave because I do feel he's been ducking me on social media this week.
Really?
Oh, no. Come on, Dave.
Do you know, I tweeted that I was really happy to have won this week. I saw the likes come in. ABB, Chris Sutton. Was waiting on Statman Dave to say something. He said nothing. I was sort of intrigued as to why that was.
Triumph and disaster, Dave. You treat those two imposters just the same.
Are you threatened by me?
100%. I should go back and do it. It's I've been really thinking about my fantasy team this week. There's been so many issues with my team right now. The wild card has been in my head as well. I'm trying to not do that. So there's just a lot of concerns at the moment, Chris, but congratulations. Big win. And let's hope that you beat Mika. Let's hope that you do it now. Micah, sorry. Let's hope you get Micah's the next one.
Look at your face.
I've never
written you a little song.
Oh.
I'm gonna perform you a little song. All right. Statman Dave, Statman Dave, Statman Dave, and his magical maths. XG in the morning, but Statman's team's not scoring. Statman Dave's a real unhappy man. From now on, whenever someone beats Statman Dave, he won't reply to you on social media, but I encourage you just to send Postman Pat emojis. We'll just keep this thing going. Doesn't deliver.
No.
Sensational.
Not in Game Week 4. Very good. Chris, I understand as well, moving it on, that we've struck a bit of a deal. So am I right in saying, Chris Sutton, that you are going to appear on Chris's show on Saturday on 5 Live? Is that right, ahead of the weekend fixtures?
I don't know whether Chris Stark would know that he has production.
That's true.
But, people doing his stuff. But, yeah, I love going on the show. Always a bit nervous because you never know what's coming.
Yeah, so in return for that, we've managed to twist Chris Stark's arm, and he's going to have a go at Sutton Death. Pod against the rest of the world. Where you're lucky here, Chris, is that you're not up against Statman Dave. Statman Dave this season, 2 from 2. Sensational last week in beating Natalie Pike in the Manchester Derby goal scorers. You're up against Chris Sutton, 0 from 1 this season, and prone to regular brain fade. So,
but I'm never good at this sort of stuff. I listen and I join in for the first couple, then I just listen to you boys battle it out. I've never been good at it. I've never been good at, in the first lockdown as well, there was a lot of these.
This doesn't have to be a confession.
No, do you know what? I remember we were recording the Crouchy pod, right? And then we finished it, and then we were up till 3 in the morning, a load of beers, doing one of these, name the 6 footballers that have scored with their left foot, for one team. And I was like, I'm just naming players here. There was no logic to it. And then occasionally someone would go, yeah, good shout. But I was like,
but I think
naming
also
players.
When you're doing that, there's no jeopardy, is there? Because if you get one wrong, it's just like, no, that's wrong. Whereas in this, every answer matters. So anyway, I think, I know Chris is going to groan when I read out the category here, but I think, Chris, with our guests coming on and putting themselves out there, I think we kind of, I think this category plays into your hands, Chris. Okay, Chris Stark. So here we go. There have been 26 Watford managers since
come on, Bruce, serious?
Since Graham
and Norwich City managers?
No, we're just going Watford, Chris. With your football knowledge, I'm backing you. 26 of them since Graham Taylor took the reins for the first time in 1977. So, Chris Stark, away you go.
Okay, I'm going to kick things off. Walter Mazzari.
Oh, did you say that right, Mazzari?
We're not doing pronunciation as well, are we?
So just to be clear, I can say Graham Taylor, Bruce.
Yes, you can.
Graham Taylor.
Oh.
No, I said that. I said that's allowed.
Javi Gracia.
Cisco Munoz.
That's not pronounced right, is it?
Well, come on.
Cisco Munoz, I think. But anyway.
Adi Boothroyd.
Oh, he's gone back there, hasn't he? Brendan Rodgers. Ex-Celtic manager.
That's very good. That's quite niche, that one.
Sean Dyche.
Oh, lovely.
I'm going to go back a little bit. My former Chelsea manager, Vialli. He was at Watford.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have that, Chris? Did you?
Yeah, I'll match that with Zola.
Yeah, good.
I've got one up my sleeve, Bruce, here.
You tuck one away, have you?
I've got one up my sleeve.
It's when to play that, isn't it?
And
is it actually right as well? Come on then. You only play that in desperation when you've got nothing.
Malky Mackay. That wasn't the one up my sleeve.
Great one. Ray Lewington.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't have said that. That's a good answer.
Ray Lewington. I'm going to have
He's
to play my wild card here.
He's the first person I ever interviewed, by the way.
Really?
I bunked off school. And the teacher caught me. What a weird thing to bunk off for, right? Bunked off. They caught me and then said, well, if you ever do that again, just let us know. I was like, what? Interview Watford manager?
That's bought you a bit of time, Chris. Are you going wild card?
No.
Yeah, no?
I'm not sure about this. Nigel Pearson?
Yeah. No, that's good.
Quite recently, yeah. This is good, lads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got the 12 that I thought you'd get. I think you can do more.
One more.
Yeah, we'll definitely do more. It's just
wow.
Vladimir Ivic.
Who?
Ivic.
Oh, Ivic, yeah. Vladimir Ivic.
That's what you said, Bruce.
There was just an itch in the background, just gave it.
I'm going to go Billy McKinley.
Oh!
My old pal, my old roommate. Have some of that stock.
That's
3
the wild
days.
card. That's got to be the wild card. Come on then, Chris.
God. Hayden Mullins.
Oh! That's terrific. Caretaker, couple of stints.
No, I'm struggling. Kenny Jackett. Old school.
Oh! No jacket
I've
required.
got someone in. I don't know this guy's name.
Well, that's
I've
not
got
going to
I
help.
can't remember. The problem is I can't remember if we've done the one I'm thinking of.
Now that is an error. Chris fell down on that a couple of weeks ago. Go on then, Chris.
Kike Sanchez Flores.
Oh, that was my one.
Genius. That could be it. That could be enough.
Well, how do you know, Bruce?
No, I'm just saying it could be. I'm just doing the commentator's bit. Just building the jeopardy, the drama. What have you got, Chris? 1, 2,
I've not got a lot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 9 potential answers left. That's how well you've done. And I think 5 or 6 of them are, unless you're a Watford fan, very difficult.
I think that's. Oh no. No, Marco Silva. Come on, get that right up your stuff.
I've said Marco Silva,
you
have I
haven't.
not?
Wow.
You haven't.
What have you got, Stop?
I'm sure I've
Get
said
that
Marco
right
Silva.
up you.
Oh, that's
8 left.
Oh,
8
I
left.
don't know.
Oh no. Have you got him? He's on the ropes. He's wobbling.
Time.
My problem is I know the manager is Slav, but I don't know his full name.
Oh, that's a problem.
Do you need a full name?
We can't just call him Slav, can we?
Can we not?
No, we can't just call him Slav.
But we didn't
You're
call
gonna
him
have- you're gonna-
Adrian
you're gonna-
Boothroyd, did we?
No, we didn't. But Slav, you're going to have to have a go at his name, Chris, if you're going for that one.
Oh wow! Imagine losing.
If it's close to his name, you have a run at it, and if it's close, we'll let it go. Oh, this is horrible. This is why Sutton Death's horrible.
I mean, there must be a countdown.
Chris has done unbelievable. Oh, here we go.
Slav. You're right.
Slav.
We're just going to have a run at it and see what...
Go on. Slav.
I'm going to go Slav... Jovanovic?
Oh. Dave, I need you in on this. The answer is Slavisa Jokanovic, and he said Slav Jokanovic as a Watford fan. Do we let that go?
I think that's no. I don't think we can accept that.
Oh, Dave said no.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Dave said no.
Oh wow, Dave! I love you,
That's
Dave.
strong from Dave.
That's
I
mad.
love you, Dave. I'd have given that. I think that should have been allowed. That was close.
That's
Oh,
an
that's-
That's a shame.
That is a great
How
game.
did you do that, man? How
Yeah.
did you do that? Where do you pull these from?
That's such a shame.
Well, Billy McKinley's an old pal of his. That was.
Roommate, my former
Yeah.
roomie, Billy
Yeah.
McKinley.
So did you know
Wow.
the ones you didn't get? But honestly, that's top quality Sutton Death. Colin Lee, Dave Bassett, Giuseppe Sannino,
Yeah.
Glenn Roeder, Oscar Garcia, who had a really brief spell. Jokanovic was the one you were looking for, Chris. Steve Harrison and Steve Perryman. But honestly, not to get those.
I mean, if Dave wants to change his mind, I mean, but
You wanna
Dave's
change your
a-
mind, Dave?
Dave's a
No, I
man.
haven't
I
got
think
anything.
it's a fair call.
That's strong from Dave, isn't it?
Statman Dave.
The postman has delivered.
Oh wow, I feel bad, Bruce.
That's a great game, though. That's a great game.
It's a good game.
Great game. Chris, thanks very much for coming on.
Cheers, lads. Nice one.
We'll see you
Cheers,
soon.
Chris.
Top man. Let's very quickly do the Division 2 head-to-head results, because that league is as important, if not more important. There was a massive head-to-head clash in that division this week because Ian Carter and Sam Queck went in unbeaten against each other this week. Here is the incomparable John Murray with your Division 2 results.
Carl Anker 65, Glenn Murray 58, Ian Carter 62, Sam Queck 59, Jermaine Beckford 57, Luke Edwards 53, Megan Hughes 61, Nita Mystery 71, Emma Saunders 56, Football Fanalytics Podcast 61, Leon Osmond 71, Natalie Pike 50, Aaron Paul 44, Jacob Taylor 70, George Sutton 68, Daniel Sant 51, Spud 58, Charlie Adam 47, Statboy 68, Ben Haynes 32.
So the only managers without a win across the two divisions, but they're all in Division 1. Rob Green, having been beaten by Ben Foster. Julien Laurent.
Sacre bleu.
And Nick Bright, still without a win. Next week, Chris, you're up against Darren Fletcher and the Friday Football Social team.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. And Statman Dave Joe Sant, who's called his team XR, Expected Redemption, because he's quite enjoying the season he's having. So he's called his team Expected Redemption. Dave, you can't lose back-to-back against Stark and Sant.
No, I can't. That would be really embarrassing. But I think the team looks good. I've had to have a word with the lads. You know, the performance level's unacceptable last week. We try and rely on certain individuals, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back with his quadricep, 5 minutes before the game starts. Got a dodgy quadricep. That was the guy that if Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores the winner, gets 3 bonus points, Starkey's done. Didn't happen, though. So we can't be angry about it, because I picked him, and I'm the injury specialist, so that's on me. So we're going to move forward. We're going to remove an injured player. Bamford comes in. Easy victory.
Final time, Game Week 5 deadline, 6:30, Friday night. Good luck, everyone. Good luck, Chris. Good luck, Dave.
Good luck, Chris.
Good luck, Dave.
And off we go.
Football is back, and so are the fans.
The noise is absolutely extraordinary. That was spine-tingling.
Hear incredible moments with commentary from BBC Radio 5 Live.
Oh, and what a goal! And it's a day that he will never forget.
And get all the latest from the Football Daily Podcast.
Fans back, goals back, exciting games. Been a very, very good weekend.
Get your football fix on the BBC Sounds app.